Let's go ahead and get back to our levees that we showed you earlier in the show. With today's winter storm and more rain on the way, Reclamation District 1000 is very hard at work patrolling our local levees to avoid any flooding. And they are dealing with some serious issues. Unhoused people are digging into the levees to make a place to live. But that's just the beginning of their worries. In tonight's main point, our Devin Truby took a tour with the district crew to get a closer look.
We started our tour with Reclamation District 1000 General Manager Kevin King at the largest pumping plant just off Garden Highway, the first line of defense to push water over the levee and into the Sacramento River.
We rely on this pumping plant for probably 70% of all the water that comes into our basin.
All the water ends up here, the lowest point, and it gets pumped back out. As you can see, the water isn't moving much. Thick with trash, the district will run a machine to remove all the trash before it gets pumped out.
We're not too concerned about the rain that's coming now. It's subsequent storms that could add on to already saturated soil or wet conditions. So the first flush usually isn't that bad. We do anticipate turning on the pumping station probably tomorrow morning. 30 years behind in deferred maintenance, and last October we had a 200-year flood event. And this pumping plant, which is our primary pumping plant, had 50% failure at the peak of that storm.
And it wasn't because it was too much water. It was mechanical failure. They were just 3 inches away from having to dump the water onto Interstate 80 at West El Camino.
I run to failure mode now, where if we have a failure during a pump or a storm event, we can't get parts readily. So in fact, one of these pumps we have on order, it's been 1.5 years now, and we haven't gotten it in yet.
Now to inside, the oldest infrastructure for the district dating back to 1911. Only used in extreme circumstances, it's in dire need of repair.
Start repairing and replacing this pumping plant, and it was previously covered up with duct tape.
130,000 people in the basin rely on these pumping stations to not be flooded.
Not only is it the population, but also 3 major transportation corridors with Interstate 80, I-5, and 99 that run right through the heart of our district, as well as Sacramento International Airport. So huge impact to the economy should we have flooding within the basin.
There is another separate issue. Those living in homeless encampments using pickaxes and shovels to dig into the levees. They took us to this one off Garden Highway in Bridgeport, a 4-foot hole dug into the land side of the levee by residents of this encampment.
The hole, or that excavation, just gets larger and larger and larger and eats away at the levee.
King says his staff is not equipped with the skill set to engage with the unhoused community. They're there to patrol, but the encampments slow them down. Plus, they have no idea what holes and destruction is under these tarps. All they can do is ask for them to relocate.
And Reclamation District 1000 does have a capital improvement plan. It would involve raising rates on resident, which hasn't happened in decades. So there'd be about a $12 bump, essentially $1 a month, to raise funds for these repairs, Alex.
Devin, did he say some parts were being held together with duct tape?
He did. That's what you saw, that white tarp. That's an absorbent pad. But before that, yes, it was duct tape.
Oh my goodness. Okay, and so what are the next steps in terms of encampments and surveying the damage?
Yeah, the district has doubled their security budget, so once they remove an encampment, it stays clear. They currently spend $350,000 a year on cleanup and security, and they're also trying to get the people living in the levees to relocate. So the district will actually give them paper notices 72 hours before, telling them please leave so they can get it into maintenance, Alex.
All right, Devin, thank you.